I'll be honest, I very rarely go to the mall.
Yes.
It is so rare. And then sometimes I'll get drugged there.
Oh, sure.
You know?
I know. I've done that to my husband.
And I noticed last time I was at the mall, it was a couple of weeks ago, because there was a restaurant there that my family likes to eat at. And so they took me there.
Yeah.
And I noticed that, wow, there's a lot of places closing down. I don't think the mall's going to be around that much anymore. It's like malls are becoming obsolete. It's Rob and Liz, his morning crew on his radio.
You know, I just saw that there are some things that they say are going away in the next, say, 10 to 20 years, maybe. The mall was one of them. In fact, it was like the number one thing. But something that stuck out to me was stick shift. Manual transmission is going away.
I can
Why?
see that. We're lazy.
Well, I guess, but there is nothing that is more fun than driving a stick shift. Like you pop that clutch,
Fast
you do
and
that
furious.
right?
Right,
Like you drop
yeah.
it down, then whoo!
Listen
I love
to
it.
Liz.
Oh.
Okay, let me ask.
Yeah.
You got a newer car.
Yeah.
You just bought a newer car.
Yeah.
And is it manual?
No, it has that manual transmission option, but it's not the same. There's
Most
no
cars are
clutch,
like that are
right?
automatic. So you got automatic.
Yes, because
Sorry.
I never pop it over there. So no. And something else is cursive writing. Cursive writing is going away. They're not teaching, and I had heard that some schools were bringing it back, but they're not teaching that handwriting
What's the use for it?
in school. A signature. So my kids did not know how to sign their name.
They're high schoolers, so they don't?
They didn't. And so I made them like practice and practice.
Mama Liz got a
Yeah.
hold of them.
Well, I mean, I'm like, wait a minute, what? You don't know how to sign your name? And so, yeah, they have somewhat of a signature now.
What do you need it for?
Checks or documents or
What checks?
You know what? People still write checks. That was also part of this was that they said checks are going away.
My
but-
wife used to be the queen of checks.
Yeah.
She had checks for everything.
Right.
And then she said the other day, I don't have any checks. I'm like, wait a minute, you don't? She goes, no, I pay everything online.
Online, yeah. Well, I know that, used to, if you had like a 7,500 something check, number check, that meant you paid all your bills that way and people gave you a little more credit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, last time you wrote a card or a letter, when was it?
Oh, thank you cards. I wrote thank you cards
Okay,
after
yeah.
baby showers. And
Print or cursive?
I always, I'm weird.
Print or cursive?
It's both. I always mix, and I don't know why, but some words are printed and some are in cursive. I'm just strange.
Majority is print.
No, majority is cursive.
Yeah.
And
all
every
the way
now and then-
through?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, very much so. What about you?
People tech. No, me? Come on. If I do something, I print. I do print, yeah.
Is that more of a man thing than a female thing?
No, I'm lazy.
Oh.
And
see,
you
to
should
me-
see my cursive. You would think I'm a doctor.
His morning crew.
Liz saw something that was talking about things that are obsolete. And one thing that really got her was cursive writing.
I know, it's going away, according to these people. Well, Lisa said, you know what? You have to be able to sign documents like mortgage, medical power of attorney, and other legal documents.
Well, that's if you're doing it in person.
Right. But then we got a text from Randy that said, look, as a fifth grade teacher, he really, really wants his kids to learn how to do cursive writing for signatures. But when they bought a new house, they did it through DocuSign. And so it had a cursive signature, I guess it was generated. And all they had to do was approve it. So he didn't have to sign his name anywhere.
When we bought our home last year,
Yeah.
most of the stuff was DocuSign until we did the mortgage, and then we were in person for the mortgage.
And then you signed all the...
Yeah, it must have been 18,000 pages of stuff that you
Right?
sign.
And then it ends up looking not like a signature.
Yeah. Well, by the end of that,
Yeah.
by the third page, it was like that. I tell you. Okay, this is Wendy. So, Wendy, you say that the teacher for your kids in fourth grade teaches this.
Oh, absolutely. My fourth grade son's teacher requires them to write their spelling words every week in cursive writing, and they're graded on it.
Does it depend on the teacher? Like, is she the only one, or is that like a course requirement?
No, No, I think it depends on the teacher. But she also, I think, got Teacher of the Year last year.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Look at that. Cares so much. Teacher of the Year.
Yeah, it was a passion of hers to teach it to the younger.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Ella just texted us, and she said from now on, it's a picture that she sent us from Facebook. She had just sent it, and it says, from now on, my posts will all be in cursive. That way, the younger fact checkers can't read them.
Oh.
And so we had a great laugh out of that.
Yeah. Jesse's here at 800-447-7234. What are you thinking here, Jesse?
It is actually a third grade standard, South Carolina standard, that students are supposed to be learning cursive.
See, it's not a dying art until you become an adult.
Exactly. And then that's a choice.
I write better. Well, yeah, and I write better in cursive. I teach sixth grade, and it drives my kids nuts because I'll start writing something on the board, and they're like, Miss Moore, it's in cursive. I'm like, ugh. Okay, well, see if you can figure it out. And most of them do. They surprise themselves that, oh, I can read that.
Okay, you've got to add that as an extra credit. So you write something at the bottom of a test, and if you can decipher it, you get 5 points.
That's a good idea. I might have to do that.
Oh, Liz, look at that. She's a teach.
Yeah, sure I am.
She's coming to substitute for you next time you need off.
Hey, come on. We're needing substitutes. We can't hardly get them right now, so come on.
Okay, look at Matt. Look at Matt's text.
Right.
I love his.
He says dyslexic students write best with cursive because it keeps them from reversing their letters and the lemonades to start and stop of block writing.
Are you reading that right? Let me see.
No, I went back. That's why I checked it.
The lemonades to start. You know what he's doing. That's a talk to text.
I'm sure. And that's something that we're learning now. Instead of cursive, I guess, is trying to figure out what people mean when they voice text.
The lemonades to start. The lemonades to.
Oh, the lemon.
What do you think? TJ, what are your thoughts?
Looking at it, it's hard to decipher, but I think it might be maybe eliminates.
Okay, let's see. Dyslexic students write the best with cursive because it keeps them from reversing their letters and eliminates to start and stop. Oh, yeah, that is.
Eliminates start and stop of block writing.
That's
there
it.
You go.
That's it, Matt.
Class dismissed.
Yeah.
Mornings with Rob and Liz.
The spring stuff is here.
Yeah, it is.
So now the yard work has been happening in my family. So we put pine straw out, not the mulch.
No.
And then I did a little bit of cleaning in my little office.
Oh, yeah.
And as I was going through things, I found a book. I started getting into reading a couple of years ago, but somebody gave me a book a long time ago, and I thought, I want to read that someday when I get into reading.
Mm-hmm. And you tucked it away.
I tucked it away, and I couldn't find it again. So I found it.
I love when that happens.
Yeah. I'm not a novel reader. I like to read about leadership, so this might not be a big thing to you, but I found this book from Lincoln on leadership. I'm like, oh, okay. Now I'm going to read it again.
So that's very cool. But I love
started reading it, and then I didn't get past the first 2 chapters. So now I'll be able to devour this thing since I've been reading the past couple of years.
Yeah. When I will spring clean, because I change out the clothes in my closet and things like that and start working around the house, I always find Christmas presents. Always.
The ones you hid.
The ones I hid. And normally they're not wrapped. They're just in a bag. So it's like Christmas all over again, especially like when my daughter was home, I would tuck little things in different
little... Oh, you got to hide them because they find them.
Right, from me because they like to go snooping and stuff. And so Taylor always gets like a February or March gift.
There you go.
I know. I haven't done the spring cleaning yet. That's on tap for this weekend. So I'm looking forward to finding some things.
Gifts that she hid.
I know.
Years later.
Bracelets,
clothes. What have you found? When you spring cleaner, it's been a while, and all of a sudden there it was. You're like, oh, I forgot all about that, or whatever it is.
Money.
What did you money?
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole different thing you find it in coats.
Yeah, well.
That's in winter.
Spring cardigans. Hello.
That's true.
His morning crew.
Diane's here at 800-447-7234. What have you found?
Some cash.
Ooh, nice. How much?
Well, it was $10, but, it was in a winter coat pocket, and then went to put it away, and I'm like, oh, my gosh.
Well, yeah, $10 is $10.
But yes, sir, it is.
What'd you get?
Oh, well, I just saved it for gas or something, practical. I'm very practical.
See, I would have blown it right away, but you're a saver by nature.
Well, practical. So if I'd found something shiny, I may have gotten it.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
800-447-7234. Any texts?
Yeah, Lee
Okay.
said, I cleaned out a drawer and found a birthday card with cash from my mom. She had given it to her the previous year, and she died in between the two birthdays.
Oh.
So to find that from her mom, she said it was just absolutely...
That's great.
Yeah, priceless. And she spent it on something that her mom would have loved.
Really?
Isn't that
Well,
cool?
Good for her.
I know, Mama's still giving.
I love that. His radio, 800-447-7234. Okay, Teresa, what was it for you that you found?
My son had bunk beds and only used the bottom one. And so this is like middle of February. I climbed up to the top bunk bed to take down the sheets because I still need to clean them. And I see a package laying up there in a bag. And so I pulled it down and I went to my son and I'm like, what is this? And he's like, shrugged his shoulders. He didn't know. So I went to my husband, I'm like, do you know what this is? He goes, oh, yeah, that was your Christmas present.
What was it?
Blouse, to be honest. But he and my son had gone shopping together for it. And apparently he gave it to my son, and then my son just threw it up on top of that bunk bed since nobody used it, and then they both forgot about it.
I hope you liked it.
Yes. You know what? I've always been one. Anything my kids are part of, I do. So, but I do want to give you one piece of advice. We have found the perfect hiding place for Christmas presents,
Oh, please share.
and that's in a suitcase.
Yeah.
My wife does that very same thing. And I just said that out loud, and I have a 12-year-old in the house. Now we're going to have to find someplace new.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Liz got her first vaccination, right? A couple of weeks ago?
I did. A couple weeks ago, we get the second one because my husband and I both got our first shots, but we go in for the second next Saturday.
I wonder if Liz will go get her Krispy Kreme donut.
Yeah.
You're going to take advantage of that?
I mean, if I think about it, I will say Krispy Kreme is across town from where I live, so it's a little bit of a
Oh,
drive.
well, that's a blessing in disguise,
It
isn't
really is, because as soon as that sign comes on, I'll be through that drive-thru.
Are you
all
one of
time.
the flies to the light?
A little bit.
That
It's-
thing goes on?
Listen, it's really hard when you see the sign because your mouth automatically
It waters,
It's almost
doesn't
muscle
it?
memory, yeah, because you're like, okay, and
Pavlov's dog.
right,
The bell rings and you're there.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. But
You
I
have
tried
you have the card. They'll give you a donut a day.
every day this year.
The vaccination card. Yeah,
Yeah.
all the way up till the end of the year, they said.
And they said you don't even have to have like the second shot. So if you've gotten the version where you need
No
two
way.
shots,
You going to try to get one today?
you know, I'm not, because I'm really trying. Like I was at the gym for a long time. I'm kind of sore today.
Yeah?
So why
Oh, you
do
deserve
that?
a donut. Look at me trying to get her to
I
get a
know,
donut.
right? I'll wait for, and I know people hate to hear this, but I'll wait for my little cheat day when I allow
Is that today?
myself to indulge. It is not today.
Tomorrow?
Are you pushing me?
Well, I want see. We're gonna see if she gives into temptation.
Oh, I will post it if I do. I promise you. I will post it if I do, but it'll probably be on a weekend.
There you go. So the whole Krispy Kreme thing. If you get the vaccination, you have the card.
Yeah.
You show the card, you get a donut, and they'll do that
Every day
every day.
till the end of the year.
Wonder how many people take advantage of that.
Mornings with Rob and Liz.
You are loved. It's His Radio, Rob and Liz with his morning crew. Check this out from our My His Radio open mic.
Tim Barnett here. We have been listening to his radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, nonstop. Since we moved to Columbia quite a few years ago, the radio is on even when we are not there for the dogs. We walk in the door and his radio is playing. It's a great inspiration.
You just love that. Even for his dogs, he has his radio on.
The dogs need to know that they are loved as well. I love that message is even being shared with the pets. I really do.
Oh, it makes the house so much enjoyable, especially when you walk in. You're still surrounded by God music, you know?
Right. Yeah, and that message of being loved and people that care about you. Because I think, you know, in a lot of our situations, whether it's at work or at home, sometimes you don't always feel that. But man, I love that it's being brought there.
Yeah, Tim actually left that on the My His Radio app. He downloaded it recently, which is just so great. He's already using the app and the open mic and all the other features. And I'm so grateful that you're helping Tim, his family, his dogs know that they are loved. And we want to ask you if you would help Tell others that they are loved as well with your gift of support. We're listener supported. April 19th is our friendraiser. You don't have to wait until April 19th to give your gift of support to this listener-supported radio station. You can actually do that right now.
Yeah, you can. You can just go online, hisradio.com, the My His Radio app. And when you give that gift, you're helping to share that message of being loved, that God is there and loves everyone.
His morning crew.
Sarah Thomas, do you recognize that name? She was,
I think, a referee, right?
Yeah, she was in the news maybe for a week or so prior to the Super Bowl because she was the first female referee to ever officiate a Super Bowl. So that was everywhere for a little while. She's making news now, and I love this even more, is that she's talking about how her faith has grown, especially during the pandemic. She said she was raised up in church, parents always had them in church and that kind of thing. But she's 47, by the way. She's a mom of 3. And she said during the pandemic, she became so much closer to God because she obviously probably has some fear and some anxiety and things like this. And during the pandemic, that was just, exacerbated. So she turned to the Bible, she turned to the Word, she turned to God, she leaned on Him, and she said her faith is so much bigger and better now.
That's so good.
I know.
And that she's bold enough to stand like that. To just say, you know what? Not only have I been able to accomplish this, and I know it's God that's got me there, and then I'm in my late 40s, she's bold enough on a national platform to say, I live for Jesus.
And that's the thing. She has this platform that she didn't have. 6 months prior to the Super Bowl. Now everybody's clamoring to ask her questions, and to hear her talk about this part of her life is incredible. That we all have that kind of boldness. I hope I have that kind of boldness.
Well, it's a great challenge for me and a lot of people, I'm sure.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
What's happening to these things? They're like disappearing everywhere. You can't find them in a lot of places unless you look online. Nikes.
Oh, real? I was just looking for some new kicks. So
really,
I can't find them in stores. I can't.
If you go to Dick's Sporting Goods and Foot Locker, that's about the only 2 places that you can find them. They started not distributing them anymore to the smaller type stores, the running stores. I get all my shoes from a running store.
Sure.
All my running shoes and all my workout shoes. So I go to the same place. For years, I've been doing that. And Nike is, a staple of a lot of these places. And they yank them out of the stores just to sell them online. That kind of hurts the small businesses that rely on big names like this.
Are they taking them out so they keep more of the money? Or, because I don't know how that works. I don't know.
I don't know if it's pandemic that's putting it through. I'm sure you can spin it any way that you can think.
So.
But the bottom line is they are going to sell them online, and they still have their relationships with the big stores like Dick's Sporting Goods and Foot Locker. Yeah.
Wow. Well, the poor little local business. I mean, I hate to see that, but I guess you can always find another brand. Maybe there's even a better brand. I don't know.
Well, maybe some people will move on to somewhere else. But if you're loyal to Nike, you go and get Nike wherever you want.
Just do it, right?
If it's that's
that's
their
what they
slogan.
Want. Yeah.
His morning crew.
If you know anybody where this old house is their jam, the original do-it-yourself program of homes and what do you call it?
Remodeling?
That's it. Refurbishing, remodeling, recovering, reing your home. It's this old house. Renovating. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you. I had an intellectual interlude right there, and now I'm fine again. Roku is going to stream every episode, ever.
Wow, you could binge that for years, just about.
Yeah, we're talking about 1,500 episodes of this old house, all the way back to a guy by the name of Bob Vila. Now, Roku, and they're going to do this for free on Roku.
Oh, that's
so it's
even
on the
better.
Roku channel. It's absolutely free. They're already doing the Ask This Old House. That's a kind of a spin-off. It's the hosts, because now this old house have many hosts.
Yeah.
So it's the host of this old house and the people who are asking them questions, and they answer them.
I've never seen one episode of this old house.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
I saw it the other day.
Really? Okay. Did
Yeah.
you watch it on Roku, streaming it?
No. I watched it on another streaming service.
Yeah.
But I kind of liked it because I'm like, well, this is the original
Right.
of renovating homes, you know?
Right. Before, what was the one, the house swap or?
Trading places?
Trading places, yeah.
Or spaces, rather.
Spaces.
I went back to a movie.
Yeah, that was probably the first one that I ever watched.
Oh, they had some strange rooms that they did with those interior designers.
There was one girl put moss on somebody's wall.
Yeah.
Moss.
And expect it to be liked.
And they walked in and the lady burst into tears and she was like, ah.
And ruined relationships?
And walls. Oh, yeah, because they were friends who generally traded the spaces.
Usually neighbors or something like that, right?
Yeah, that was the worst one I saw. But this whole house, okay. So we now have something to binge watch this weekend if need be.
Okay, and you're welcome.